So at 16 is when you get tired of the bullying and you join the gang, right? Seeking brotherhood.
Yeah, around 15, 16. I've seen them around at the age of 15, and then by 16 I was like basically running with them.
Right. And you joined the Fuk Ching Gang. Take us through that, though.
The Fuk Ching Gang was a fairly new gang in the 80s. It was established in the mid 80s. Um, it was See, back then Chinatown was controlled by the Flying Dragons, Ghost Shadows, and the Dongwon. It was only the three gangs. The Flying Dragons had Pell Street, Doyer Street. Ghost Shadows had Bayard Street and Ma Street. And the Dongwon had Division Street and East Broadway. So those streets were taken by these gangs. It was like divvied up already. And then by the mid 80s, there were a lot of Fujianese coming into this country. Before, Chinatown, New York City, consists of the Cantonese from Guangzhou, the Taiwanese from Taiwan, and a lot of people from Hong Kong who speak Cantonese. There weren't too many Fujianese. Then by the mid 80s, a lot of Fujianese came to this country to escape poverty, just like what the Taiwan people did back in the days. For them to risk their life to come to the US, you gotta be really desperate. You gotta be the poorest of the poor in China to come here to the US back then. Not now. The people coming to the US from China, they got money because you need money to get that visa.
Mm-hmm.
You need a certain amount to establish your business, to buy property. And in China, they lifted a lot of people out of poverty. So there's really no poverty like the poverty they experienced back then in China. So it was a different way of life. If you got those people who were desperate and they came to the US, they're willing to do a lot. Okay. Just like those refugees who came during that time from Cambodia to escape the Khmer Rouge. And around that time was the Vietnam War,
Mm-hmm.
which disrupted a lot of lives over there. And that's how you got the BTK that was formed in Chinatown. And then you have the Laotian from Laos, the bombing in Laos. So a lot of lives were disrupted. And they all came here and tried to get a stronghold in Chinatown. So they were all fighting for power amongst these already established gangs, the Flying Dragons, Dongwon, and the Ghost Shadows. So now you got the Fuk Ching coming in, then you have the BTK trying to get a piece of the action. So there was like a little war going on. So what happened was, during the mid 80s, a lot of Fujianese came over and they formed their own. They tried to muscle in on East Broadway, but they couldn't do it. They just couldn't because the Dongwon had that territory. So they really had no way to go except the outskirts of Chinatown, which was Elger Street and and Christie Street. So they had their little hangout spots over there. But then the Dai Lo had the vision of, you know what, let's expand to Flushing, Queens, and in Brooklyn, since we can't muscle into these main streets which had the golden egg. So they expanded. So he sent the people to do recruiting. So the Daimas is what we call it. They got sent out by the Dai Lo to do recruiting, and one of them happened to do recruiting around that neighborhood that I was in, and he was hanging around the pool hall called Triangle Billiards. right off Kings Highway. And remember, that's where I used to go play my video games after school with my study buddy.
Mm-hmm. So when you joined the gang, the bullying ended up happening, right? Because ended up stopping. I'm sorry, because you said to them, "My boys will murder you if you mess with me again." Something along those lines.
Oh yeah, I got into a fight. You know what? Because I guess once you join the gang, you become bolder and colder.
Right.
And I wasn't going to tolerate any of that nonsense anymore because I've seen what they've done, you know, and I know what they're capable of, and and I was becoming one of them. So I can I can allow myself to be bullied like that if I'm going to be part of a gang. If I'm gonna if I'm gonna be dressed like that and act like that, I have to be like that.
You have to play the part now.
Have to,
Right.
because who's gonna respect those Chinese gangsters if I embarrass myself
Mm-hmm.
in front of them? So it wasn't gonna
Was
happen.
was the bullying mainly like teasing, or were they like jumping you? Like it was actual physical fights all the time?
No, it's teasing, teasing, teasing.
Teasing. Okay.
Yeah, I mean it was the first day of school, first day back to school, my senior year. Right off the bat, the teasing happened. I had to put an end to it. It wasn't gonna happen anymore. You know, it always starts with teasing. You want to feel you out,
Right.
see how far they can get,
How
and
did
then
how did that feel for you to feel some control, some power after feeling helpless because of the bullying? Like now that you had that feeling, that strength of being in the gang.
how did I feel? Well, when the teasing began, my heart was racing because I wasn't that big. Remember, I was only 16. I was like maybe 100 pounds, right? The kid's got to be 150 plus, maybe. Black kid. So he was sitting in the back of the classroom. And I had to do what I had to do, you know, even though I was like almost half the size, and I wasn't gonna let that happen. Yeah. So I he didn't expect it coming. He didn't expect it from me. You know, maybe he's watching the show now. Who knows? But he didn't expect me to creep up behind him and drag him off that chair because he was sitting on the back of the chair with his feet on where you sit.
Right, right.
So he was pretty high up. So it was the element of surprise. Slammed him down and got on top of him. And that was that, you know.
What was the facial reaction when you told him that if you mess with me again, then my boys will murder you?
I think he was still shocked at the fact that that I did that. Like who would expect a tiny ass Asian kid to do something like that to challenge and he was with his friends. And I didn't scream it out. You know, by the time we both got up, I told him. I didn't scream it out. Told him. You know.
Right.
So he heard it and he knew. Because you know back then, so many shootings and it's easy to get to somebody. Very easy.
New York didn't have all the cameras yet. Nobody
No,
had camera phones and stuff,
no,
you know.
no, no.